back to the 7th episode of Snyder's. That's me. Music Biz News. So while the record labels are using AI to create new variations of existing recorded music, at the same time, all three major labels, thousands of artists signed a petition opposing use of creative works in AI training AI to sound like Bruce Springsteen or Michael Jackson. The unlicensed use of creative works for training generative AI is a major unjust threat to the livelihoods of the people behind those works and must not be permitted. That's what the petition says. And thousands of musicians and composers and actors and authors, including ABBA's Bjorn, whatever, and all 5 members of Radiohead and a bunch of others, and don't forget the record labels, the majors, have signed a statement opposing artificial intelligence companies and developers using their work without a license for training AI systems. So Tom York feels that if you're going to train AI to sound and sing like him, he should get paid for that. It's his sound that AI is imitating. All 3 of the major record labels have signed off on this. Within several hours of going live on Tuesday, October 22nd, last month, the statement had been signed by more than 11,500 people from across the creative arts, including Kevin Bacon. So anyway, in the UK, the government is going to launch a consultation on how to regulate AI technology and is understood to be exploring a scheme that would allow AI companies to legally scrape copy-protected content from artists and rights holders unless they opt out. So scraping is how the AI is being trained. In May, Sony Music released a statement warning more than 700 AI companies had warned more than 700 AI companies not to scrape the company's copyrighted data. While Warner Music released a similar statement in July, the same month, in the United States Senate, a bill dubbed the No Fakes Act aims to protect creators from AI deepfakes, was introduced by a bipartisan group of senators. And here's a little bit more information about it. In July 31st, a group of U.S. senators introduced the highly anticipated No Fakes Act. Aims to protect artists and others from AI deepfakes and other non-consensual replicas of their voices, images, and likenesses. If passed, it would create federal intellectual property protections for the so-called right of publicity for the first time, which restricts how someone's name, image, and so forth can be used without consent. Currently, such rights are only protected at the state level, leading to a patchwork of different rules across the country. Unlike many existing state law systems, the federal right that the No Fakes Act would create would not expire at death, and could be controlled by a person's heirs for 70 years after their passing. This is the same as copyright protection for a song. If a songwriter dies, the family would still receive songwriting royalties for 70 years. And it's the same thing with a likeness here. The No Fakes Act also includes specific carve-outs for replicas used in news coverage, parody, historical works, or criticism, again, very much like standard copyright law. Non-consensual AI deepfakes are of great concern to the music business, given so many top-billing talent have already been exploited. Tupac's voice was deepfaked by fellow rapper Drake in his Kendrick Lamar diss track, Tailor Made Freestyle, which was posted and then deleted on social media. And Drake and The Weeknd had their own voices cloned by AI without their permission in the TikTok viral track, Heart on My Sleeve. And the motion picture industry also is very much in support of this bill, obviously, because, again, actors can be deepfaked as much as musicians and are being deepfaked. But earlier this year, proponents for strengthened publicity rights laws celebrated a win on the state level in their fight to regulate AI deepfakes with the passage of the Elvis Act in Tennessee. This landmark law expanded protections for artists and others in the state and protected voices for the first time. And Tennessee has always been sort of on the cutting edge of copyright law because of Nashville, and country music is synonymous with Tennessee. But there is the alternative side to this is this professor from the University of Pennsylvania Law School raised concerns that the law could have been an overreaction that could potentially open up tribute bands. You know, a band that sounds just like the Allman Brothers. Are they deepfake? I do know that there's a lot of musicians, including myself, that, for instance, wanted to play like guitar just like Dickie Betts. So you couldn't tell it wasn't Dickie Betts playing. Of course, you wouldn't say it was Dickie Betts. But we've always sort of imitated each other in the way we sing and the way we sound, especially in a top 40 band. You want to sound like the record. So the idea is that you would learn how to do that and you'd make a living at it. Again, I'm not taking sides here. It's just imitation has always been part of what we do. So keep an eye on this no fakes bill and see if it has teeth. What are the penalties? And what are the lawyers doing with all of this? And, you know, copyright law is one thing, and it sounds like they're trying to squeeze this into the copyright law bucket and use a lot of the same rules and regulations when it comes to copyright law. But this is different. So, again, we'll see. Okay, well, from the very first episode, I've talked about how content creation, social media broadcast is the future in music and anywhere else. And here's an example. Chris Wallace, who was on Fox News for a very long time. He was actually part of the news section, not the entertainment section. And he interviewed a lot of people on Fox on Sunday morning shows, and he moved to CNN. Well, he just announced he's leaving CNN to go where the action is. He said, Chris Wallace said, "When I look at media landscape right now, the people who are going independent, whether it's podcasting or streaming, that seems to be where the action is." That is Chris Wallace leaving CNN to become a content creator, podcaster, YouTube channel person. Like me. He must have saw my channel and said, I want to do that. That looks more fun. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Bob Lefsetz. I follow his newsletter. I love what he writes. Sometimes I disagree, but his views on music and culture are usually pretty enlightening. So he wrote about this in his most recent newsletter. He sort of compared this to CNN and MSNBC and Fox and all of those big media channels being like the record labels. There's like 3 or 4, just like there's 3 record labels. And being a broadcaster or a star on one of those is sort of like being a star on a record label, like your Beyonce. Or what if Beyonce said, I don't want to be on a major label anymore. I'm going to be independent and do my own thing and make my own records, and they can't tell me what to do. And that seems to be the trend. If CNN and all of those are like the major record labels and they're losing artists, and you see the growth of independence. I think the latest figures that independent record labels, independents are like 46% of all music sales now, as compared to the major 3 record labels. Conglomerates. So the major labels sell hip-hop and pop, and let's be clear there's an audience for that, but the biggest act in recorded music today is in country. Morgan Wallen, and seemingly every act of stature wants in on that world, country. From Post Malone to Beyonce. So what's going on? Authenticity and credibility. Oh, don't tell me about beers and trucks, and of course there's a lot of country music that's trifle, but all of it is relatable. It's not I'm richer than you, living a better lifestyle, let me tell you about it. It's earthier, rootsier. It is more organic, and that's what the public wants. They're tired of the slick. The average age of cable news viewer is 65. So the boomers are still watching TV, and they're still watching the major cables networks. But you'd be surprised how many boomers like me listen to podcasts, which is pretty well all I do now. I don't watch the major networks hardly at all. And everybody always looking for something new and good. The dirty little secret is most podcasts suck. Mine doesn't, but most of them do. The lifespan of podcasts is 7 years. So if you last past 7 years, it's sort of like being a rock star living past 27 when Kurt Cobain and Hendrix and all those people died when they were 27. So the big networks, all they worry about is the number one, who's the top news network and all that kind of stuff, sort of like the record labels do, but with a shrinking audience, like the record labels. So he goes on to write, want to win in this new world? Be you, authentic. Don't look at what other people are doing. Speak from your heart. Be able to play your instrument helps, and being able to write songs of melody and changes does too. If your audience can sing along, that goes a long way to embedding you in their heart. Sure, there are songs that are great to dance to, but most of them are dispensable. The music is just the grease of an EDM show, but we have to sell music as paramount and make it important. And that needs a refocus, a redirection by the big boys and girls, and the little ones, the youngsters who have moved to social media and doing podcasts, are already doing it. One of the big attractions of this new media that Chris Wallace is going to, the big thing about it is they leave the mistakes in, that it's raw, it's organic, and people just don't want to see the slickness. So when I hear of a professional podcaster criticizing, say, students because their podcasts, although they're hilarious, but the sound isn't always just right, and you don't like the lights, and it's not smooth and even, it's not produced, and I'm going, no, let the kids talk. I love listening to the students when they do their podcasts. So if you are thinking about it, don't wait to take a class. Just do like I did. I'm old and I'm doing it. So if I can do it, you can do it. Get out there. It's the new frontier. Jonesy's cat shit crazy pick is this announcement by the Recording Academy, people who put on the Grammys. Recording Academy to stop giving complimentary after-party tickets to Grammy nominees. Another comp bites the dust. And an email went to all the members of the Recording Academy. Yes, I got one. And it read, with the evolution of the event, we unfortunately will no longer be able to provide complimentary tickets for nominees to the afterparty, nor will we be able to accommodate as many guests as we have in the past. However, we will still have a limited number of tickets available for purchase while supplies last. Be on the lookout for more information on ticket sales in November. Rest assured that while the event itself will be smaller, the afterparty, the experience promises not to be smaller, and impact on the next generation of music people will be greater. And the reason that Jonesy wanted to pick this as the crazy pick is because the Grammys are the national shrine of our industry. It's always been the gold standard. It's always been the symbol of, in many ways, rock and roll and all kinds of music. It's success, it's gold, it's glitter, it's money, it's rock and roll, it's have fun. But now you have to buy a ticket if you're a nominee. And if you want to hang out with Beyonce, you need to watch out for when the tickets are available. It just doesn't seem quite right to Jonesy's. It just seems another sign of our industry's melting, in a sense, or evolving into something else altogether. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe and do all those things.